one, any update on Dylan? Is he still a game time decision? And two, rotation wise, kind of how, maybe not tricky is the word, but just kind of how interesting is it going to be, kind of figuring out your rotation as, again, Dylan comes back in the mix now with, the regular group of guys.
Yeah, Evan, definitely game time decision. He had a great day yesterday, as I mentioned, after practice, but no contact. And then, went through shoot around today, so easing him back in. So we'll see how he responds to his pregame workout and talk to the medical team and him and see if it's a go tonight. But whenever he does come back, obviously we got a lot of depth. We're finally getting back to close to full healthy on our roster. So it'll be challenging, naturally. Someone's going to have to be out of the rotation. That person's going to have to stay ready, and this can be ever evolving with the depth that we have. So we'll have to make those hard decisions as we come to it. But I know our guys to continue to put in the work and always stay ready when things absolutely change.
Law Murray.
Hey, good evening, Taylor. I know that this is the second time that you've had the series kind of set up this season. I know you were in Los Angeles last month, and I think another one in San Antonio. What have you taken away from the setup to preparing for those particular those particular games, and how does that change with this particular one with the Clippers being a back-to-back?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I know there's a lot of talk about, these kind of mini series throughout the season. I think, a lot of teams have enjoyed it. This is only, I think you said, our second one of the year. The back-to-back will be unique, but we've attacked the first game as if it's just a game by itself. Let's just go out there and play the best we can here in game one. Let's put our game plan out there, have our adjustments ready, and then learn from the film afterwards. And, I think the most recent one was the San Antonio one. We did have a day in between, but irregardless of a day in between or not, playing the same opponent 2 nights or 2 games back to back gives you an opportunity to make some tweaks, change some things, emphasize the things that you did well. It's kind of a chess match, these little mini playoff series or whatnot. So it's been exciting. It's a lot of our coaching staff to dive in a little bit more. I think our players, they take a lot out of the film that we watch after the first game and go out there and try to replicate a game plan and always know that we got to adjust, depending on the adjustments from the opponent. So focus on number one right now, game one against the Clippers, and then we'll cross that bridge on what we need to do better game 2 tomorrow night.
Shawn Coleman.
Taylor, you doing all right tonight?
I'm doing good, Shawn. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for asking. So obviously the LA Clippers are a very strong team, but it seems like one area of their defense where there may be some opportunity to operate is not necessarily at the rim, but up in the paint. And of course, the strength of the Grizzlies is the floater, using that potentially to your advantage and then setting up, like we talked about yesterday, the corner 3. It seems like that may be an area of opportunity tonight to find a weakness in this otherwise strong LA Clipper team.
Yeah, I mean, we've watched their defense and kind of gotten a feel for how they've guarded. This is our first time playing them, so you never know exactly how they're going to guard you in, especially in pick and roll situations. But more often than not, their bigs have been back, but they've shown the ability to blitz and get up in red as well and try to get you from getting downhill. But if there are those opportunities, whether it's in our middle pick and rolls or our sideline pick and rolls, to get a piece of the paint, and obviously we take a lot of floaters and have been pretty good, in that area. Hopefully we take advantage of it. They definitely have shot blockers back there at the rim, so they don't allow you to get all the way to the rim, but hopefully we can capitalize on some of that, mid-range, paint area, non-restricted paint area, scores. And if we keep great, spacing, they're an opportunistic defense. They got great length, great size. They've got really good shifts. So if we're able to get a piece of that paint, collapse our defense, have great ball movement, and maintain that great spacing I just talked about, hopefully that opens up some corner threes. We've done a really good job this year of getting to the corner threes, keeping that spacing, letting it fly from, the corner threes and shooting at a pretty good rate. So tonight, if we can stick to our game plan, that's the number one focus. But then as we read the game and see how they're covering us in pick and rolls and how their shift activities maybe taking something away, we'll be ready to attack it differently.
Adam Tyke.
Hey, Coach, wanted to ask about the schedule real quick. When you see the intense pace of the second half, how much is it sort of reassuring to you to know that you have a group of young and energetic guys given the schedule's pace?
Yeah, I think, obviously we'll dive into the schedule and figure out, when we got to do things as a team individually and keep our focus on development. I think I mentioned that yesterday, but, fortunately we have a group of guys that just focus on one day at a time. So no matter what the schedule is going to throw at us, home, away, back-to-backs, 3 and 4s or whatnot, these guys, we're going to manage their bodies appropriately, manage their minds too, because it's going to be a grind for sure in the second half of the season. But, they relish the opportunity to go out there and play, be together. We'll be together a lot, which is awesome. There's a great spirit that we're going to have to rely on. So, it doesn't surprise me, that these guys are going to be able to go out there and execute at a high level in a tough schedule.
Cameron Buford.
Good afternoon, Taylor. You guys got a chance to see the Clippers last year, and obviously this is your first time seeing them this season. How, in watching the video and preparing for this game, what is the difference you see from the Clippers last year to 2021 Clippers?
I mean, I would say a lot of the same. This is an elite team on both ends of the floor. I think just continuity, that's a big factor in this league. Just having guys, they've added a couple of new pieces, in Ibaka and Batum, but those guys seamlessly have fit in just with their veteran experience. Obviously Ibaka with championship experience. Obviously he's played with Kawhi. So those relationships, matter. But I think, taking the group from last year to this year, majority of the same guys, experience that they gained last year. I think that's only just continue to allow them to grow more. So I think they're doing more of the same. They're finding more consistency. They've got great depth, great versatility, great experience, great skills. So I see an elite team like we saw last year. So it's not surprising what they're able to accomplish so far this year.
Final question, Megan Triplett.
Hey, Coach, you've talked about kind of going quarter by quarter with these guys, in this game and the games for you guys this season. What do you want to see your guys kind of go, fresh out the jump and mainly in that first quarter? That'll be kind of indicative of what you guys have been working on at practice yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I think the number one thing we're talking about is consistency for 48 minutes. But in order to get to the 48 minutes, you got to start off the game, on the right foot. So, we got to have the energy, we got to have the urgency, on the defensive end. I thought our defense the other night was actually pretty solid. Outside of a couple tough shots that the Mavericks made, we still got to find ways to make them even tougher. But our pace has got to be there a little bit earlier. On the offensive end, we got to get our legs going a little bit quicker. We're able to find it, in stretches of the game, but for that full 48 minutes, how can we dictate the pace of the game? Can we ignite our offense through our defense? Can our offensive execution help our defensive, urgency as well? It's really just coming out with the right mentality and the right edge. We talked to these guys about that night in and night out. That's what you hope for at the start of the games, and then just continue to build on that over the course of the 48 minutes.